Welcome back to another Valley Sports Plug Roundtable. It is February 21st, 2023, and boy, am I glad to be back here and streaming on this beautiful Tuesday night. With me this evening, of course, my sidekicks in crime, Michael Benjamin and VSP Tallman. How are you boys doing?
Doing awesome, Chris Tallman. How are you guys doing tonight, man?
Doing great. Good to be here.
Feeling good, feeling great. This weekend, we just recorded episode 14, our February episode of the Heat Check podcast. It's now live on streaming services and here on YouTube. So go ahead and check that out. Tallman had a lot of spicy takes. We had to put him in his place about some Cardinals season ticket shenanigans and some other topics. So yeah, definitely check that out. But we're here to talk about some of that stuff, get a little bit more in depth. We got some XFL happening this last weekend, and that's going to be going forward. Of course, the Kevin Durant news is nonstop. Got to juice that for all that it's worth. And then just some NFL offseason stuff to cover. And really, like these roundtables are very informal, just really whatever topics come up. I mean, one time me and Ian were talking about street sharks. So we had to bring him back. Ian, you want to talk street sharks?
Dude, yeah, let's just next 2 hours, nothing but street sharks.
Nothing but street sharks. Maybe next time. How are you tonight, though?
I'm not too bad. I'm a little under the weather, but otherwise I can't complain. How's everybody doing?
I don't blame you. I'm good, man. I'd be under the weather, too, if I just lost my star player.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Shots fired already.
That's why I'm sick, definitely.
Ian, I feel you, man. I was battling the bug last week, finally
Yeah.
kind of turning the corner and feeling better, but drink some tea, man. Have some Advil. I don't know.
That's all I got is the tea on tap.
That always helps me. A little tea, a little rest, bounce back like a champ.
Little OJ.
But all kidding aside, Ian, I hope you feel better, man. I've been lucky enough to avoid any winter illnesses so far, knock on wood. But we'll just have to see. So some other guests might be popping in here. There's rumors. So as they hop into the green room, we'll bring them on. We did want to talk to Ben about the XFL out of the gate, because he was actually at the game over the weekend, but he's not here yet. So we're just going to bounce on to the next topic since we have our resident Nets fan here. He now gets to lay claim to having Brooklyn Mikal Bridges on his team. So I guess since Ian, while we have you, man, I just want to give you the opportunity to speak on the trades and everything that happened with losing Kyrie and KD and gaining Mikal Bridges and some of those other guys.
Yeah, I can say my first thought is, it sucks. I'm upset about it. I hate Kyrie forever. I don't know what else to say about that. The KD thing, I wish he'd stayed until the offseason and then requested a trade just to give it a final push. But I understand, and I don't know if the Suns offer would have been on the table in the offseason. So no harm, no foul, I guess. I like Mikal a lot. I think I want to see him be a first option consistently before I say that, I'm all about this dude and I accept the Brooklyn Bridges nickname. I think that's a little ridiculous to be calling him that this early. He's been there for 2 weeks. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to watch your team and not worry about, off the court bullshit all the time and all the stuff that was going on in Brooklyn constantly when Katie and Kyrie were here. So that's honestly the biggest win of the trade for me, is just being able to just enjoy mediocrity for a little bit and not have any drama.
I feel that. I mean, I'm sure Mike can relate. We talk about always talk about the 2010 or so Phoenix Suns and just not really having any expectations of the playoffs, let alone a championship. It's kind of a relaxing place to be in. I mean, to make it personal to me again, that's kind of how I was with the Steelers this past year in football. It's I just get to have fun watching my team with low to no expectations. But you mentioned Bridges maybe not quite deserving the nickname. He did drop 45, his career high, in a Nets uniform.
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I just want to see him do it consistently. That's all. I just I think the sample size is too small for us to give him the nickname that is the actual city that he's staying. Like that's excessive, man. But no, I really do hope he does good. He's doing good so far, but all he has to do is just keep doing what he's doing, and I'll be very, very happy.
Yeah, I mean, we loved him here. A lot of people still love him. I mean, I'm always on Twitter and Reddit, and I just see so many Suns fans mourning the loss. But it's hard, right, Mike? Because we got Kevin Durant, so it's like the highs and lows, right? The great gain of Kevin Durant, but also the loss of Mikal Bridges.
Right. And the only thing right now that we have to really look forward to is that first time he actually puts on a Suns uniform and is on the floor. We still set expectations because when you get an all-time great like that, you automatically shoot to the top in regards to what is going to be acceptable for a season and how you finish. But at least you got some tape on Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson already, so you can kind of start to build that beautiful blossoming relationship where maybe one day, Ian, you'll be accepting of calling him Brooklyn Bridges. But I think you guys are still going to make a good playoff run. Right now you guys are 5th in the East, 2 games above New York. I think the East is a little bit more fleshed out as well in regards to where teams are sitting right now. Whereas in the Western Conference, I mean, the Suns are in 5th, but they're only 2.5 games in front of 10th spot. So there's just going to have to be a lot of teams continuously winning in the West to make sure that they solidify not being in that play-in tournament. So hopefully we can get Durant to start as soon as possible, hopefully in that Thunder game on Friday, which has been flexed to ESPN. I can only imagine the reason that it was flexed is because there's been some insider scoop basically saying that he's going to be playing. So I can't wait at this point. And at this point, after the disappointment of the All-Star game and just how terrible of a game it was, I need basketball back, man. Like I still have to wait till Thursday. Like I'm chomping at the bit just for games to get back going.
Yeah, man, like I swear I literally wrote that down. It's like the All-Star break kind of threw a weird wrench into everything after all these trades went down. Now we're all excited to see what these players can do. Like for Ian, he got to see a couple game sample size, at least 2-3 games of Bridges and Cam Johnson. But now everyone, like you said, chomping at the bit to see what's going on. Tallman, some of the people online, I know there's a lot of people online, but they've been saying that they feel that the Nets took advantage of a new owner, that when Matt Ishbia took over, he was so desperate to make a splash play that he jumped on that trade right away. I mean, Ian, if you want to jump in on that too, like, do you guys think that the Nets kind of took advantage of a fresh owner to make that trade?
It's hard to say. From the looks of it, I think the Nets probably won that trade. I think in the moment as we live, we feel like we have a better chance to win a championship now. But, future wise, in 2-3 years, when we look back, the Nets are going to be winning this trade ultimately. And man, I'm surprised you don't like that name, Ian. He's already Mikal Bridges has already been in a South Park episode. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
No.
Well, it was for like 3 seconds. They were doing some protesting thing, making fun of Prince Harry or something, and they showed him run onto onto the court at Barclays Center. That's where they play, right?
Yep.
And just running in a game. Yeah, and it showed Mikal Bridges in there. It's great. But I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I saw some article. I didn't get to read it yet, but I guess Ishbia opened up about how they landed Durant. But I think, I don't know if they took advantage of him. Maybe the fact that he wanted to come in and make such a big splash on his first day, which he successfully did that. So he probably thinks he won in his own eyes. And I think it goes both ways. And I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm not.
It's hard, but it's hard to measure, right? Because everyone's
yeah.
perception or idea of what being taken advantage of is. But I mean, for you personally, Tallman, do you think it sounds like you're leaning towards the Nets kind of did take advantage a little?
A little bit, and I think he allowed it. Ishbia allowed it because when you have that opportunity to land a player like Durant, I mean, you don't pass it up. So they definitely took advantage of a player that they knew they had to trade anyway. I mean, he wasn't going to stay, and if he did stay, or he wasn't going to play. So I think they did take advantage of him a little bit, and it worked out for both parties, I think.
I think I agree a little bit with what Tallman's saying. It's all about perspective for me, because if you look at it, in a very Suns centric point of view, then yeah, the Nets definitely did take advantage of the Suns. But other way around, if you're Matt Ishbia, I think he wanted to make that trade before he even came in. You know what I mean? He wanted to make that big splash. So in a way, I'm sure Matt Ishbia feels as though he took advantage of the Nets. You know what I mean, by getting Kevin Durant. So it's it's all about how you look at it. I think time will tell. It'll really tell the story. If the Suns actually do manage to pull through and win a ring this year, that's not going to be the story. You know what I mean? It's not going to be the Nets took advantage of anybody, and the same goes with the Nets. Like if Mikhail stays long term and ends up being a star in Brooklyn, maybe it will be that way. But we'll have to wait and see. And I think it's all about who you ask right now.
That's great points you bring up, Ian. I mean, it's almost like not like the perspective we keep saying, but like where each individual team is at. Like the Suns championship window appeared to be closing with Chris Paul getting older, DeAndre Ayton being inconsistent. I mean, book, but we were wanting another superstar to pair with him that would be reliable. And without that, it seemed like the Suns might not have, or the perception was that the Suns might not have the firepower to get over that hump. So we mortgaged the future, if you want to use that term, in the now to get an aging superstar in Kevin Durant, who's 34, going on 35, for some younger guys who are in their mid to late 20s. So the Nets kind of realizing that maybe similarly, we aren't able to make the championship push we want to with just Kevin Durant. So let's set ourselves up for more long-term success. I mean, along those lines, though, Mike, do you agree with the decision to mortgage the future?
I mean, it's always tough, but one thing that I always lean towards is I'd rather take a proven commodity than a draft pick in regards to you don't know where you're really going to end up drafting. I mean, how many guys really hit in the draft, even if they're first round picks? There's only two rounds in the draft for a reason. And, it's really hard. Sometimes out of draft classes, we only see 5 or 6 guys that are really kind of all-star level guys, only a few that are really contributors or key guys off the bench who can play for a handful of years. And then everything else is just muckety muck, for a lack of a better term. It's just guys who flash between the G League or go overseas, play somewhere for a little bit, and then find themselves out of the league before you even know it. So if I can get a commodity like Kevin Durant, who has experience with Devin Booker playing for the USA team, has experience playing with Chris Paul, same USA team, but I know it's been a couple of years, has experience with Monty Williams as one of his assistant coaches in Oklahoma City, played with Cam Payne, played with Damian Lee, played with TJ Warren. I just think we're talking about a different fit in regards to bringing this type of superstar over. Because the one thing you also have to think about with what happened in Brooklyn, those 3 guys, the 3-headed monster of Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving, they all went to Brooklyn. Nobody had footing there already, right? Nobody had played for a little bit on the team, wasn't really set. They just picked a destination and said, hopefully we can go here and make it work. But there's a lot of other key factors that have to go into it. Obviously, you get hit with the pandemic, the crazy things, the decisions by Kyrie Irving, just the hard-headedness of James Harden in general, and then having a brand new leader like Steve Nash try and control all those guys, it was really going to have to come to fruition fast for them if they were going to get any traction. And at the end of the day, you see that they only played, 17 total games together? It just was never going to work because of injuries and just all the other off-court kind of craziness that was going on. But here in Phoenix, we have that solidified group who has been here, who has built the culture, and now you're just adding that one piece to come into it. And it's going to take time, like we've talked about, but you're not going to have to try and figure out together. It's going to be, hey, we're bringing in KD to be a part of what we already have.
Yeah, and a guy like Kevin Durant, like he always does the off-season leagues. He does his Team USA. He's been on 3 different teams now, or 4 different teams now, I think, right? Oklahoma City, Golden State, Brooklyn, and now the Suns. In his press conference, he said a lot of interesting things. Kevin Durant said that he felt like he will likely finish his career in Phoenix, but that's also how he felt going to Brooklyn. And Ian, I know you felt some type of way about him getting a little choked up talking about his time in Brooklyn, but more than that, I wanted to ask you why Mike brought up Steve Nash. It seemed like Kevin Durant threw a little shade his way during the press conference when asked about playing for Monty Williams or being coached in general, and really saying that he felt it didn't come together in Brooklyn because of the coaching. And I took that as a shot at Steve Nash.
Yeah, I mean, 100% it is, and I don't think he's wrong at all. I think Kevin Durant is a guy. When you have that level of success, you have a little bit of egotisticalness, if that's a word. Like he sees himself as this alpha, but he does with that. I'll say a lot of things that are true to a fault, and yeah, if he's throwing shade at Steve Nash, it's impossible to talk about why the Nets failed without talking about Steve Nash. He was 100% one of the reasons why it didn't work out there. Yeah, I can say anything that Kevin Durant has negative to say about Steve Nash, I would agree with, to be honest. As a coach, as a person, I'm sure he's an awesome man. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I got love for Steve Nash. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, I mean, I'm a Suns fan, grew up during the Nash era, idolizing the guy. But I don't know. Obviously, Steve isn't a great guy. I don't want to take away from that. But it did leave a kind of a sour taste in my mouth when, after you win the MVP twice here, after this organization, maybe not the organization, but the fan base just worships the ground you walk on, after you go out to the Lakers and retire unceremoniously, it's like he forgot about the Suns. Like, he doesn't make any appearances. He was never on the coaching staff. And I don't know if that's necessarily Steve Nash's fault, but he went to the Warriors, went to coach the Nets, but it's just like, seemed like he didn't give a shit about the Suns anymore. So that just kind of, I don't know, always kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
So I'm with you, Chris. I totally understand. But with that being said, how much of that do you think had to do with Robert Sarver still being the owner of the Phoenix Suns? What kind of a relationship or, ill will or falling out they might have had after his tenure? Because you have to think, Steve Nash was basically the first signing of the Robert Sarver era in 2004. That was when he took over the team and bought them. So he was basically at the start, and then we went through some odd changes, having Steve Kerr kind of as our GM didn't work off as well. But you just don't know. I mean, obviously we know everything that's happened with Robert Sarver, so it wouldn't surprise me that he didn't have a great relationship with Robert Sarver. So if you have other coaching opportunities, like he ended up going to be kind of like a player consultant with the Golden State Warriors and then eventually finding himself with the Brooklyn Nets, maybe he just was trying to stay away as far as possible from the Phoenix Suns because he knew what was really going on inside the organization and he just wanted to distance himself from that. We don't know, but that could be a possibility.
Well, that's the thing, and that I would love to know, right? Because it seemed like from this whole Robert Sarver saga, you bring up Steve Kerr there. He was one of those guys that said, yeah, never had a problem with Robert, never noticed anything weird, had a great professional relationship. I was a terrible GM, and so I went to go win championships. But so everyone had a different experience, but without Steve Nash saying like that's the reason, then I'm going to kind of have more of a willingness to lean towards my ill feelings, but totally get what you're saying. Like, that would make a lot of sense if Sarver, like I said, it's not all on Steve Nash. Obviously, someone's got to open the door to let him in, but is he expressing interest in even wanting to do that? I don't know. I mean, I even had questions about if he was even going to be a coach in this league. He was, I think, like not a coordinator. What's it called in basketball? Like an advisor or something on the Warriors there for a while. But yeah, I mean, when we're talking about this stuff, Tallman, what it would be a good question to ask Tallman right now?
Something not basketball.
Something not basketball.
What are you talking about, Tallman? You've gone to more games than I have in the past.
I know.
Months.
That's right. You were
joking.
tweeting. You were tweeting for the first time. Which game was that you went to?
That was the Kings game on
There you go.
Valentine's Day.
Okay,
Yeah,
and yeah, I
with
remember
the
you were
Durant
tweeting
was
and
on the bench. Yep.
yep, he was. That was what I was going to ask you. So he was on the bench. You snapped those pictures. What was the energy? Because you've been to other Suns games, obviously. Could you tell the difference in the energy between before Kevin Durant and with him in the building?
Oh, totally. I mean, I think the other game I went to was like 2.5 weeks
The
ago.
the Memphis
The
game.
Grizzly, yeah, on Sunday
Yeah.
night. Like that one was, it was packed in there because Sunday night. So then I'm thinking, all right, we're about to go to this game on a Tuesday. It's Valentine's Day. Like, come on, it can't be that busy, right? Place was way more slammed than the Sunday night game, and arguably against a worse opponent. Um, but I think what also played into it, I think that was Devin Booker's first home game after his injury coming back. And then obviously the first time we saw Durant in the building, and it was crazy. And I think it took Vince Murata up until halfway through the second quarter to finally, during a timeout, say, everybody, let's welcome Kevin Durant to Arizona. And then the place just went fucking crazy. So that was pretty cool to see. But I mean, it was crazy just to see him. I mean, the dude didn't. Okay, so what I love about him, he didn't even try to look good on the sideline. He's wearing a fucking a beanie, some gray sweater. Looks like he bought at Walmart, but that shit probably cost $500. And then just some normal Suns sweater joggers, and it was good. So it was good to see him out there, and the energy, it felt different in there. It did. And then it was good seeing Paul, Ayton, and Booker playing together as well. And then every time they did a timeout, Kevin Durant was the first guy off the bench, just dapping everybody up. So it was very electric in that building.
It seemed like it. I mean, from that game against the Kings to the press conference that I think was 2 days later. I mean, even you. I think you guys were saying you listened to it on the radio. I was watching it on the stream. But just, yeah, literally anytime a reporter asked a question, just showers of cheers and applause, and it's just gonna. I'm just really excited.
Ian, what are your expectations for the Brooklyn Nets to finish out this season? Do you think you're going to finish kind of in the top 5 where you're sitting right now? Do you think they'll win a playoff series? Do you think they'll make a push? Kind of where are you at right now?
See, it's so hard to say. That's why this is why I'm torn on the Brooklyn Bridges nickname, because I have no idea what to expect from this team. You know what I mean? Best case scenario, second round playoff exit. Worst case, we miss the play-in, but it's really hard to say. We have stability with our coach. We have a really good coach now, so that I think that's going to help tremendously. Plus, he's a defensive-minded coach, and we just got a lot of defense-heavy players, so that could definitely keep us afloat. I don't think we're going to finish 5th. I think we're going to drop a little bit, maybe 7th or 8th, but I think that's where I stand. Is basically we're going to be in the playoffs, but I don't think we're going to go far in the playoffs.
Yeah, and you got a 7-game cushion to the 10th spot. So if you do slide a little bit and find yourself in the play-in game, I think you guys will still find a way into the playoffs. I think my last question for you is, the last time that we all kind of got together and watched a game, it was the final game of Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson playing against the Nets. Mm-hmm. And the next day they were traded. The big heavy hitter at that time for you guys was Cam Thomas. Yeah. It had the 3 40-point explosive games, but it already seems like he's started to get less playing time and has taken a back seat, which I guess I understand, but how do you feel about them kind of falling back after he had some good games? Do you think he deserves a little bit more of an opportunity and more run? Because it seems like now he's getting back down towards like 18 minutes. And I feel like he could get 30 minutes a night and still give you buckets like that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So Cam Thomas, he definitely has potential to be a huge scorer for us. Potentially, he could be our first option, but he's 21 years old. He has some maturity issues. the very next game after the one that you and I watched together, the dude was chucking real bad. I don't know what his final numbers were, but he's the kind of guy where he'll miss 10 shots and he's going to take that 11th shot. So he has to find some discipline there. And then that's basically what my opinion was before the big trade. And now after, we have a brand new team. We have to figure out. I still don't know what the starting lineup would be. Ideally, for me, it would be Dinwiddie, Cam Thomas, Bridges, Cam Johnson, then Claxton. But that's totally up in the air. We're still trying to figure out what rotations work best, everything like that. So he could still definitely be our everyday starter, but he's got some work to do in his head, I think, before I can confidently say that. He has to fight for a spot and prove that he can make high IQ decisions with the basketball, not just throw up whatever.
Yeah, that's a good question. I was wondering about Cam Thomas myself because he was hot. He was getting like 30, 40 points a night there for a little while. Ian, last question since we're peppering you with Nets questions here. What are the Nets going to do with Ben Simmons?
They came out and said that they're going to explore trade options. But when you're making $40 million a year and you're scared to shoot the basketball, that's hard to move, man. So basically the plan right now is pay this dude basically $40 million a year to be the backup center because that's basically all he can do. He's 7 feet tall, so he can get rebounds. And then try to move him, but I don't know what the hell they're going to get back because what is that guy worth right now?
Not 35 million a year, that's for damn sure.
Hell no.
Oh, that's tough. And I mean, it's like what you got.
I was going to say it'd be like trying to trade Kyler Murray right now. It's just not an option, unfortunately.
It's not an option. But I think this is a perfect time for us to bring in another very special guest to the stream. Making his 2023 Valley Sports Plug live stream debut, we have returning Delmo.
What's going on, boys?
What's up?
Everybody can hear me.
Yep, we can hear you.
What's
we
good,
can hear you.
Davey?
First off, Mike, that contract is going to be a fucking steal next year.
Kyler Murray?
I hope so.
Yeah, right at Daniel Jones is going to be making 8 to 10 more than him. Oh boy,
Daniel Jones, what, 45 million a year?
that's too bad. I didn't. Mike, as committed as you were to KD, I'm sad to see you jump off the Kyler train.
You know that I did not jump off the Kyler train.
Sure
I was
like
just
it.
no. I was just saying it would be the same way. Kyler's coming off of ACL surgery. You can't trade him right now. People aren't going to take on that asset. It's the same way that Ben Simmons is just scared to shoot the basketball. Like your main asset of the player is not there right now. You can't trade him. I want Kyler. Come on, Davey.
All right, just making sure, man. I know lots of people are down, but I'm looking forward to watching him play without Cliff. But yeah, that Ben Simmons contract, I think we talked about it the other day, Ian. I was actually talking to a Heat fan. They're trying to get off Duncan Robinson's contract. Same thing. If they're going to get off that contract, they're going to have to give up picks to get off that contract, and it's the same thing with Ben Simmons.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's just what a cluster of a contract. That guy. What's crazy if you read like one of his draft profiles from back in the day,
I saw, yeah.
It says like if he's not the center of attention, it's not going to go great.
Yeah, I've seen that floated around every once in a while on different meme pages and stuff. Actually, I'm gonna pull it up right now because it's so funny because it's like everything that is on there rings true to Ben Simmons today.
Right. Absolutely.
Right here. Ian, tell me if this sounds like the Ben Simmons you know. Simmons' lack of competitiveness in crucial games has raised questions about his character. Those who know him best say he needs things to revolve around him on and off the court, and that he's often been closed-minded to coaching or instruction.
Yeah, that's pretty on point.
It's tough.
Is that like an Australian thing?
This was, I think this was him coming out of college.
Yeah, he's wearing the LSU jersey there, so.
Damn, that is cold-blooded.
He couldn't even beat a Wallaby one-on-one.
What's going on, boys? Anyways, sorry I missed the beginning. I've been going out of town and trying to catch up on some work, and it's not going well. So I figured, why not take a break and get in here?
Heck yeah. Happy to have you. Come chat sports for a bit. We came out the gate here the first 30 minutes, of course, talking about Kevin Durant and kind of the state of the Suns and the Nets and the league right now after all the mix-up. I mean, do you just want to share real quick before we move on, how you're feeling about the KD trade?
I'm feeling good about it. That was the plan. That was the goal all along. That's what we talked about at the beginning of the summer, or I guess it was midsummer, and I was on the train thinking that it was going to happen. These guys weren't going to let it go. As soon as you hear a guy like Kevin Durant wants to come to your team, either way, and because even though obviously 4 years on his contract, he's forcing his way out. The fact that he continued to contribute to the team without causing as much of an issue as Kyrie, things obviously went smoother. It was sad. It took a few days. This may sound bad, but I was actually kind of like excited that Michael had the up and down game after the first two, because I was really worried that he was just going to take off. And then, of course, he scores was it 45?
Yeah, career high 45.
Yeah.
Yep.
So because as far as this is probably when I was a kid, when we were younger and they traded for Shaq, they traded away Sean Marion, who's one of my favorite players. Michael's not even my favorite player on the team, but it felt worse than when Marion was traded. And Cam Johnson, that was neither here nor there, because I don't think we were going to be re-signing him. Because I expect a lot of teams to throw a lot of money at him because he's an above-average defender and he can make shots. He came back really well too, which made it a lot easier to trade him. I think that's what I think that's kind of what happened. That and obviously Kyrie kind of blowing shit up. But no, I'm pumped. I'm looking forward to seeing him in uniform on Thursday. I already told my group I'm going with the Vegas to just peace out for 3 hours. I'm just going to be at the bar watching the game. And there's going to be some ups and downs, but I expect to probably win 17 of our last 22 games. I don't think we're going to lose that many games. I don't think one of those two players are going to let us lose that many games.
No, you just have too many options. Like if one guy's not hitting on any given night, you have 2-3 other guys who can get it done. But yeah, super excited for that game on Thursday to see if he plays. It's been flexed to ESPN on the national stage, so it almost seems like it's a surefire thing. But speaking of the national stage, we saw the XFL kickoff this weekend, and hit the wrong button there. And Tallman, I need you to tell the people which one of these 8 teams has VSP adopted and is going to follow here in the season 2023 inaugural season.
Okay. We have officially adopted the Las Vegas Vipers.
Oh, yeah. Let's go, Viper Nation.
XFL team picked up some gear. No fucking clue why. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not even going to pretend like I even watched the game. I think I turned on a replay for like 15 minutes while I was playing Yahtzee. I know, random. But hey, I mean, it looks like real football. They're really trying to be a developmental league, and The Rock is very passionate about it. So I look forward to seeing what they can do. And also the Vipers have our boy Brent Huntley, but I don't think he started though. So
he didn't. It's Luis Perez, who also was part of, I believe, the AAF and has been bouncing around different leagues like the USFL. I think he signed with the Giants for like 15 days as well in 2022. But dude, let's go. Vipers all the way, man. Like you said, Brett Hundley, that's some Arizona ties right there. Chandler High kid. They got some other, ex-NFL players as well. Geronimo Allison, who played for the Packers. Martavis Bryant, who played for the one of the worst franchises in the NFL, the Pittsburgh
Oh, yeah,
Steelers.
Get out of here.
Paxton Lynch got benched at half. What's new?
They got Vic Beasley, who played for the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, man, that's the squad. That's who VSP is repping. I mean, they're the Vipers. We're the Valley. We're gonna stick with it.
Easy.
They got Sean Price. Wasn't that dude a rapper?
You know, Ian?
I don't know if it's the exact Sean Price that you're talking about. Ian,
Sean
but
Price is a rapper. Is it the same guy?
that'd be great.
I know
well-
Matt Jones as well. Matt Jones. As soon as you look at the names for a little bit longer, you start You've seen him at the bottom of Madden rosters.
Yeah.
You've seen him at the top of free agency and Madden near the end of each season on franchise mode. I think it's cool. I think you're right. I think that what you said, Tallman, the Rock's passionate about it, but it's not just like when Vince took it over. They're partnered with the NFL. They're actually legitimately gonna be pushing for this fucking developmental league, and I think it might work. Everybody loves football. I think one of the cool things about it was watching all the rules that they may eventually try and incorporate to the NFL. The 4th and 15 rule, fucking sick. The team that was down 8, I did watch the highlights of the team that was down 18-6 with like a minute and 11 seconds remaining, and they were able to go for a 3-point conversion, and then they got the ball back. And yeah, they did that 4th and 15 and scored. It was pretty cool. I think that I don't know how the numbers turn out. I think I remember reading something about it like last year, but something like the percentage of recovering an onside kick is near that 4th and 15, which I find hard to believe because I feel like most 4th and 15s seem to get achieved, especially if they're against the Cardinals. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to watch them try all these rules out and kind of fucking get to the point to where maybe these guys can get a second chance. The roster wise, that'll be one thing, but there are other things they can do and test things for football as a game itself.
Yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things about this league. I mean, it primarily is still football, but like you said, Davey, you talk about the tiered extra points that they have. If you start at the 2-yard line, you get 1 point, 5-yard line, 2 points, 10-yard line is 3 points. Their kickoffs, the teams begin 5 yards apart. So
that was
like
interesting.
They're almost like jumping into each other right off.
It's like this is Sparta kind of thing. They're literally wrestling with each other almost. It looks like.
It also looks like
close.
They have the ability to do a double forward pass. So if a team completes a forward pass, as long as it's behind the line of scrimmage, that team may throw a second forward pass.
See, that makes sense to me as long as it's behind the line of scrimmage. I know that it could turn into some crazy stuff. I know my brother was saying we were watching the Super Bowl and they had that almost arena football like motion on the touchdowns that Tony and Sky Moore scored on. And he said, I thought that you had to be set. And clearly that's not the case anymore. I don't know when it changed, but so our head coach was lost too on the rule. Yay. But yeah, this is cool. It looks like a scrum before returning a kick. Did anybody get a kick returned this weekend?
That's a good question. I
couldn't
know.
tell you.
That is so crazy though. And the kicker is like still way far back. Like I had to pull it up because I didn't quite understand. And then they can't move until they can't.
Until he catches it.
Yeah,
That's
he can't
pretty
move
cool.
until he catches it. It's cool. It's what I was saying. It's like an actual fucking wrestling match. I'm looking forward to seeing what the first return for a touchdown looks like. Because I mean, it's got a good feel. I know we tried to. All of us tried to follow. What was it? Is it the AFL or what do they call it again? The
AAF.
We all
AAF.
tried to follow that. I
AAF,
remember
yeah.
we watched 2 or 3 games at Jack's bachelor party. We they didn't. There was something about it that didn't. There was no like gravitas, I guess is the word. I don't know. I think
Yeah, it was
obviously
the hot
when
shots.
you had The Rock you have The Rock sitting at the head of the table, you're going to be in good shape as far as getting investors and stuff like that. But they're invested in the NFL, and the NFL is invested in them. So we'll fucking see, man. It'll be fun.
So they're off to a good start. I think, Tallman, didn't you bring up like the amount of weeks that we don't have football is just like crazy now? Do you remember what that stat was?
Yeah, I think it was either 45 or 46 weekends out of 52. There's some form of professional football.
Yeah. 6 weeks without it. That's it.
It's
I'll
crazy.
take that. I know
Because-
Americans will take that. And it's a different wrinkle, right?
Yeah. How many weeks is the XFL season?
10, and then
And then there's another league.
there's 10 regular season games for XFL, and then they have the semifinals and then the championship. So technically, there's 12
Okay,
weeks.
so 3 months.
And then it's USFL is doing something.
That's
I
right.
haven't
That's
really.
right.
Yep.
I think
Are
that's
they
coming.
partnered at all with the NFL, or is that just they're starting their own thing as well?
Let's see.
That's a great question. I thought that I heard that they did have some ties to the NFL.
I will say one thing I did think is really cool about the XFL is that these guys get these contracts, right? And even though they plan on the league being here for a while, all their contracts are voided at the end of the season so that they can go and try out and get contracts with NFL teams and get preseason contracts and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool. I think the fact that it's all based out of Arlington and then they just travel, they have a travel day for their game, I think it's cool. I think it adds a lot of competitiveness to it. It allows for obviously lots of training between the teams as well. I'm assuming that there's some form of that. But yeah, if they're hubs out of Arlington, then obviously.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to have Ben on. He's unfortunately not going to be able to make the stream tonight, but he was actually at the game in Arlington on Saturday against our Vipers. We won't hold it against him, but Ben decided he is going to be an Arlington Renegades fan. I guess he can have it because he does live out in the DFW. But that game was so close. Like I'm with Tallman. Full disclosure, I didn't watch the game, wasn't able to, but I was kind of keeping track of the score, and they were winning at one point. So I'm like, yeah, go Vipers. And then when it's all said and done, they couldn't pull it out. But Tallman, you mentioned the USFL. And since I'm kind of deciding now that you're kind of our football liaison, when it comes to the USFL, are we going to be Pittsburgh Maulers fans?
Boo.
Executive
I don't know
decision,
about that.
Tallman. Come on.
Or
No,
are we going to be
I'll
Memphis
have to look a
Showboats
little bit.
fans? Memphis
Oh.
Showboats, their head coach is Todd Haley.
Oh, no way.
Am I seeing this right? So the USFL. Okay, so the USFL did a draft tonight.
Oh,
Really? Really?
Yeah,
Who was drafted first overall? Let's see.
it's just broken down by the teams.
Oh, is it live? Oh, it's complete.
8th.
Yeah.
Round one.
It was from the 8th.
Oh, yeah,
They've been
February 8th.
Offensive
Oh,
tackle,
okay.
Jarrett Horst.
Jarrett Horst. So they draft every year.
I'm going to assume that these are going to be guys that we have no idea who they are.
Yeah,
Oh,
Lindsey
okay.
Scott. So that's another great question. Are the XFL and the USFL pulling from the same, talent pool? I'd imagine. Probably.
You would assume that this is basically a third tier, just based off of the names I haven't seen.
Did you guys know that the New Jersey Generals and the Pittsburgh Maulers share a stadium?
Where do they?
Where's it
that
at?
Canton, Ohio.
So at the Hall of Fame field.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's funny.
Perfect.
So I did want to look to see kind of which teams kind of separated themselves from the pack. And it was Houston that was the one that kind of demolished. But again, I don't know. That's impressive because I don't know any of their players. I can't. Brandon Silvers, no idea who that is. I don't know any of those running backs. Maybe a solid defense. Who knows?
I was a little tempted to be a fan of the San Antonio team because of Hines Ward.
Oh, is he the head coach?
Yeah, but the problem is I don't know how to pronounce the team name. Or better yet, I don't know what it means.
Brahmas. The
What's a
Brahma Bull.
Brahmas? It's a bull?
The Brahma Bull. That's The Rock. That's his nickname, the Brahma Bull. That's what's on his arm.
Are you serious?
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's literally nicknamed after The Rock.
Yeah, that's his seat. That's his. Yeah, that's his.
Now that you said that, I do know what you mean, because The Rock does have that tattoo, bull tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay.
That's good. I'm even more happy with our decision to go with the Vipers then.
Yeah, no, that is so lame.
You guys hate The Rock or what?
No.
What the fuck is a Brahma?
But I don't need to be a fan of his
Bull.
team.
Man.
Hey, hopefully the XFL is more successful than Black Adam. That's all I'm hoping for at the end of the day.
That was rough. It was a rough movie.
Dude, the
I don't say that
USFL,
often.
those teams do not play in their hometowns, really.
The Philadelphia Stars drafted a defensive end from Harvard. I might be leaning more towards them because of that.
What's weird is he's not. Well, maybe it's not The Rock's team because he's wearing in the thing. He's wearing a See, he is a Arlington. Maybe it was just because of the game, but he had the Arlington Renegades jersey on, and on the back of that jersey was a similar logo to the Brahmas.
Yeah, I think it is.
I'm
I think
not
it is
sure.
Renegade. But this is why I don't like The Rock. These are 4 different movies that he's in. For the
It's
record.
hey, first off,
4 different?
that is not his fault that he's found his niche.
He's like
They're talking about casting him as the new lead for Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, really?
Yeah. I don't know how
That first picture on the top left, it's kind of similar
from the
to
rundown.
how
isn't
yeah,
it?
but it's
no,
it's
One
kind
of
of
those
bottom
has
left
to be
is
the rundown.
Bottom
Yeah.
left is the rundown. He's way younger.
that one is kind of similar to Tallman on New Year's Eve, just with a little bit of less muscle and the sweat in different areas. But
Oh, come on now.
Savage.
Sorry, Tallman.
No, I got love for The Rock, but he's kind of like the Seth Rogen of action movies. Like Seth Rogen just plays Seth Rogen in every movie he's ever been in.
Yep.
The Rock plays The Rock. It's just
Yeah,
fine. I mean, it's
Doesn't
fine.
have a lot of range, does he?
I will say I like Walking Tall. If we're sharing our favorite The Rock movies.
Tan's shirts, they just work on The Rock, man. I don't know what to tell you.
He pulls it off well. So yeah, we're definitely gonna have to keep tabs on the Vipers and the XFL, the USFL. I had an angle for this that involved sports betting, and I wanted to ask Tallman about it. Are you gonna be? Oh yeah, it's not related to the XFL, but Tallman, with the All-Star break and the NBA going on, there hasn't been much to bet on. Did you do any betting on the XFL this weekend or hockey, or what you've been looking at?
Didn't do XFL. I mean, shit, you can't even pull up the stats on ESPN yet. Like, what's going on with that?
No, you pull it up on the XFL website.
See, before I bet on it, I got to know there's a fucking website.
I go straight to the source. I was just looking at it. It's a bad website.
Oh, is it? Yikes.
It's
All
not
right.
very user-friendly, especially on your phone, yeah.
Okay. No, I was hitting the college basketball. And then I did do some NHL ones, but man, it's tough to win on those when you're not really looking at it every single day. So I can't wait for basketball to be back.
Yeah, man. Thursday, right around the corner. Gonna be betting on that for sure. I did do some hockey bets. Had a little bit of luck, but not too much. But yeah, again, I don't know.
I avoided it at all costs. I'll get caught up in it too much. I did see today though, you can bet on in like the Champions League, you can bet on there being draws through a certain time in a game. So if all 5 games are at a draw at 20 minutes, you can bet on that and make money on it. Like, Jesus. They find them all.
No, exactly. And Vegas always knows. They're always winning.
Absolutely.
Well, awesome, guys. So we did note here that at the top of the show that the Cardinals made some coaching hires, kind of alluded to it a bit. The elephant in the room. I'm just going to come out and say I don't like John Gannon.
You don't like JG Wentworth?
JT
Shots. Explosions.
We need more energy, man. I'm
Is
not
that
a fan of
energy?
him. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of what I've seen on the field. To be honest, I never even thought I didn't pay attention to the Eagles at all this year, but I didn't think that the Eagles defense was all that great. I just thought that they scored a ton of points. Apparently that was the case, that they were a pretty good defense, but at the same time, I don't know, man. I know Ryan was saying earlier in the group chat that he's not sure about it because it's all young guys you can blame. That's the point, is you hire a bunch of young guys, then you get a year or two from the fans. That's the idea, at least. I mean, any of us to expect anything more from a first-year head coach with a staff that's probably most guys under 35 and a quarterback who probably isn't going to play till week 7 or 8, if that. It's going to be a long year again, I think.
Well, so again, Cody, like that to me just sounds like a
bad.
bunch of like it's gonna be bad. It's a bunch of excuses. Like when we were talking about Cliff potentially saving his job, having Kyler's injury to fall back on, that could have been the explanation for why he's sticking around. They kicked him to the curb, but now Bidwell's coming in with more excuses ready to go at his hip. Oh, they're young, they're new coaches. I don't ever have to put together a successful team as long as I keep coming up with excuses as to why we're mediocre. And on top of it all, I'm gonna raise ticket prices.
Yeah, the
ticket price thing really got you, huh?
It's an insane amount of for them to raise prices that way while also underperforming exponentially is kind of insane. Unless all their home games are in the second half of the season, I don't see how that works because from what it sounds like, who is it? Jacoby Brissett might be on the radar, that kind of thing for our starting quarterback next year to start. And if that's the case, then lots more of that. Our new quarterbacks coach worked with Deshaun Watson over in Cleveland. Good times. Great.
Oh, great.
Did you see his cap hit for this year coming up?
Who? Deshaun
Watson. $55 million cap hit.
Woo.
Wow.
It's because of this first year, they only gave him $1 million cap hit so that he didn't lose any salary. They basically manipulated the CBA. And, I'm assuming the NFL is going to figure that out next time. But, yeah, $55 million for the next, I think, 3 or 4 years. I don't know. But he's I don't know. I look at the coaches that they brought in. Every one of them are coaches for underperforming teams. We have the Cleveland guys. We have I don't even know who was the Cleveland guy's the offense coordinator. The actual I don't know if it wasn't the coordinator in Cleveland, I don't think, but
this is a quarterback's coach.
Okay, so he came over, and then his assistant, the wide receivers coach, came in. It's going to be the new quarterbacks coach. Is that what I got from that? Something similar. I don't know. I hate hiring coaches from teams that don't play well, but at the same time, there's always these guys stuck on bad coaching staffs that don't have a lot of control, and they just need to get there and pay their dues. We can say Gannon had that showing in the Super Bowl, but at the same time,
he choked in the Super Bowl.
What did Shanahan do?
I don't know. It's what gets me the most is the average age of your top 3 coaches is 34.
Mm-hmm.
Gannon's 40. Quarterback coach guy, I'm forgetting his name.
Petzing, I think.
Yeah, he's 35. And then the Rollins hire, the linebacker coach from Philadelphia, that's our new DC. He's fucking 29 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little much.
He's the youngest defensive coordinator in the league by 6 years, and there's only 2 or 3 defensive coordinators that are under 40. Like that's insane. And then the lack of experience is just unbelievable. And I don't know. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be dangerous, and there's not a lot to look forward to because, like we already said, we're not even going to have a quarterback to even keep us competitive for the first 8-10 weeks, and then our coaching staff is just going to try to figure it out. And
I'd like to see the moves they make because I think that we will end up with. I know they're already talking about this linebacker from. Is he from Philly? That's outplayed his position in Philly and basically is going to be available, and he's like one on their radar as one of the first things they want to do to lead the linebacking core, which it sounds like I wouldn't be surprised if we see Simmons moving back to safety, playing in a strong safety type role, more of a just hard hitting kind of ball hawk.
He's got to figure something out because you got to master something before you try to play everything.
You could put. He
hasn't mastered anything. So
you could put him on the edge. If they could get Isaiah to just put his head down and go to the ball, between him and obviously we got Zach that we need to try and re-sign. Makes it a little bit easier. Obviously, JJ retired. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot. I liked it. I did like in his press conference. He said he wants to add. There needs to be flexibility. It's not my way or the highway when it comes to calling an offense or defense. I would expect to have a more smash mouth type offense because we got a defensive coordinator as a coach now, and it sounds like he's going to have a say in it. I'm looking forward to at least seeing Kyler in some different formations when he gets to it, and seeing if he can.
You gotta wait like 10 weeks just to see him.
Yeah, but we're waiting for him either way.
Scared? No, absolutely.
Yeah, man. So,
but all right. Well, I don't know. It's just not looking good.
We'll see what the preseason brings and what our roster looks like. That's the first.
The roster is the big thing, and the Brissett connection to the new offensive coordinator. I like that, but shit, the Browns paid Brissett like almost $8 million last year, and I don't know if we're gonna be spending.
Yeah, I would expect for his salary to drop. But I think that we played. I think we paid Colt 4 or 5 last year. I thought we paid him a good amount as a backup.
As long as it's not Colt to start, I will be just fine. And TJ Edwards is that linebacker that you're talking about from the Philadelphia Eagles. Bring him in, sure up that linebacking core. Do something else with Isaiah.
Most importantly,
putting him at slot corner is just not working.
Yeah. Man. Most importantly is our trenches. They need to change. We need to see legitimate defensive linemen and legitimate offensive linemen. That was because Darius Slay is a dumb shit.
You're already making excuses for Gannon.
No. You watch Darius Slay. He completely just turns around and acts like nothing's going to happen on that first play. The second one, after fool me once, shame on Slay. Fool me twice, shame on Gannon. But at the same time, do you think that San Francisco would say Shanahan's one of the better coaches in the league?
On their 4th string quarterback, I think they can get a little bit of leniency.
I'm just saying Shanahan blew a 28-3 lead. He overdid it. He was the offensive coordinator, and he got hired immediately. He was hired within 3 days in San Francisco.
Yeah,
like they may have actually hired him before.
The way the Cardinals waited, I don't think they had many options left. In my opinion, I think they really kind of fumbled the bag with the Sean Payton thing. I would have at least liked him from the perspective of a guy who actually has head coaching experience, has playoff experience, knows how to coach little midget quarterbacks. So I don't think midget's PC. I'm sorry, I take that back. But little short quarterbacks,
Oh,
man.
no.
Canceled, and it only took a year.
Nah, I don't know. The Sean Payton thing, it was not worth what he got traded for. I don't think that he's going to be able to do anything with the roster that Denver has anymore. I think that they're going to not having young players to bring in and having Russ to deal with. I mean, Hackett was a fine offensive coordinator, just a shitty coach. But he also he got stuck with coming into Russ. Basically, the owner picking up Russ and saying, fucking, he runs a show.
Yeah.
But let's do it.
Last thing I want to bring up about football, though, Mike, and just ask you real quick. With all this excitement, all this noise about Gannon, and a lot of focus on Bidwell, I feel like Monty Ossenfort has kind of slipped into the back, and he's not really getting any praise or any criticism for this hire. I mean, it sounds like it might have been a Bidwell decision, but do you think Ossenfort's going to have to take a little bit of this on?
To a certain extent, but also at the same time, I think I want my GM to take a little bit more of a backseat in regards to the notoriety or just the general talkings about, because we already put up with that with Steve Keim for a numerous amount of years. You know, you always talked about the Steve Keim signs. So if you get that, you always expect that. And Steve Keim didn't do that for like the last 6 years of his career. So as long as he just keeps plugging away, fills these coaching roles, starts to, solidify this roster, I'm going to give him a chance. At the end of the day, I have to. This is my team. I'm going to support them no matter what. But it is going to be odd with the amount of youth that's not only going to be on this team, but in the coaching staff. It'll be something to see on a week-to-week basis. Hopefully guys aren't yelling at each other as much as they were like Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury at the end of the day. So,
yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see. We'll have to wait and see. And best believe we're going to have plenty more commentary on the Cardinals, the coaches, the GM, the owner, all that good stuff as this offseason rolls on. But we got a little bit of time left here. I know Tallman ate some tacos, but he's got to get going. Ian's been withering away over there in the corner as we talk about football. So, Ian, I want to rope you back in here. We talked a little bit about it on the Heat Check podcast we recorded this weekend, but the World Baseball Classic is coming back after, I think, a 6-year hiatus caused by the pandemic. But you got a pretty cool looking pool here. There's going to be games here in the Valley in Phoenix. So I don't know about you. I'm definitely trying to make it out there. But what did you think, or what have you heard so far about this World Baseball Classic coming up?
I didn't realize it was 6 years, to be honest. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I was looking at the Team USA roster, and they got a pretty good team this year. The World Baseball Classic's always fun. I feel like they never try too hard with it, given that no one wants to get injured during this and then miss MLB time. But yeah, it would be awesome to make it to a game. I don't know. Oh, never mind. I just answered my own question by looking at the goddamn screen. But I didn't know if USA was in our pool. But yeah, hell yeah. It would be awesome to make it to a game there. I'm sure it's not going to be cheap, but would be super cool. I think like USA versus Mexico would be a really good matchup. Same with USA and Colombia, I think would be really good. Canada and Great Britain sounds awful.
I think USA does have a game against Great Britain in this pool. From what I was looking at, the tickets are a little bit pricey. I think from what I was looking, they start at about $45-$50.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
And really work their way up from there. And no, not at all. I mean, when you're talking about something that happens, it looks like every 4 years or so. It seems inconsistent because I was looking at it. It was 06, 09, 2013, 2017, and now here in 2023. Was surprised to learn that the U.S. has only won the World Baseball Classic once in its four going on 5-year history. Can anyone name the team that has won twice?
Japan.
Anyone? Japan.
Hey, there you go.
Got it. Yeah, Japan won it twice. And the last time, though, in 2017, the United States did win. They beat out Puerto Rico, and then Japan had third place that year. And then in 2013, it was actually the Dominican Republic that won. Again, Puerto Rico always second best apparently. Japan third. U.S. wasn't even fourth, so I don't know what happened in 2013. There might be a bigger story there, but Ian, I think like you were mentioning, looking at the roster, I don't have a good visual to pull up here in front of me, but there were some star names on that roster. I think I saw like Mike Trout, Tim Anderson, some other guys like that. So
Trying to shoot you a link here so you can screen share it, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pete Alonso, Tim Anderson, Nolan Arenado. That's just like what my eyes just noticed here. Mookie Betts is there. Goldie. It's stacked as hell. JT Realmuto.
Yeah, Mookie. Isn't that your boy Kyle? I'm doing it again.
Kyle Higashioka.
There you go.
Yeah, he'll definitely be back. He'll be back up behind JT Realmuto without a doubt. But Cedric Mullins is on there. Like, he's going to be sneaky good.
The Shorbino.
Yeah, dude. That's a stacked team.
Yeah, it really is. I didn't even think to look at who the coaches were. Ken Griffey Jr. is the hitting coach. Hell yeah.
Andy Pettit is the pitching coach?
Andy Pettit.
Dang. So I was looking a little bit more into that Mexico versus USA matchup. It looks like it's going to be on Sunday, March 12th. Cheapest tickets on StubHub right now, section 303, row 38, $64. If you want to get a bleacher ticket for like section 141, which is in basically left field right in the middle, $136 a pop.
A little pricey.
I was looking at that too, Mike.
Hey, it doesn't come very often though.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
but it's painful for that stadium.
USA versus Mexico. That'd be the game to see in that pool for sure.
That definitely would be. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm definitely thinking about going out to a game. I mean, between those rosters, the nature of it being every like we said, 4, 5, 6 years, whatever it might be. Davey, you gonna make it out to the World Baseball Classic?
Hell no. Nope.
Nope.
It's my no. I'm already preparing myself just to watch kids t-ball. I'm actually going to be coaching a kids t-ball game or league, and I'm not looking forward to it. So I'm going to Vegas to watch a baseball tournament this weekend. It's my least favorite thing on this planet when it comes to sports. So
Oh man.
I do like to follow. They're really easy to follow the players, and I was talking that whole time, Chris. The reason why it's been 6 years because 2021 was because of COVID. I'm assuming that's why it was skipped. But I was just looking at the roster for Mexico. We got a Diamondback on there, Al Thomas in the outfield. And then Austin Barnes is their catcher, which makes little to no sense to me. But I guess Taiwan Walker also is on their team for Team Mexico. So I wonder how that goes. But the USA roster is cool. I actually read an article about Mookie saying the only reason he played this year was so that he could play with Mike Trout one more time because he doesn't expect to be playing with Mike Trout ever again on the same team because they're obviously on different sides when it comes to the All-Star game. Yeah, I'll probably check out the game, but no, I'm not paying $60 to go watch a baseball game. I do go to Diamondbacks games, but I get bleacher tickets for free as if I'm a college student, or not for free. I get $5 bleacher tickets still. So I'll take the kids to a game here and there. I also just struggled with. I'm not a huge fan of our manager. I was trying to just follow players, and then the players I tried to follow, like Tatis, gets himself in trouble. Shohei is easy to follow. He makes it really fun to watch. His highlights are always fun to watch. But yeah, that Team USA roster is stacked.
And you mentioned Shohei. He is going to be on Team Japan, and I just wonder, is he going to have to do it all? Is he going to have to pitch, catch, field?
I would assume it's a pretty solid roster. I mean, these guys. My thing is, Yu Darvish. Did you see that Yu Darvish just signed another 5-year deal?
Oh my goodness, are you serious?
Yeah, it might be. Was it 5 or? It might be an 8-year deal, but he's like I think 40.
He's
my
36.
goodness.
He'll be
Yeah,
40 by the time that's up. Why did they extend him
Yeah.
that much?
6 year, 108 million.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Oof.
But these guys are sweet. I mean, I have watched highlights of Japanese baseball in the past, and yeah, these guys, they probably get just as hyped about baseball as we do.
Yeah.
But they're gonna pull it together, and it's pretty easy to play when you also have the best baseball player on the planet by far playing for you. He makes everybody else look like kids out there, even the good ones.
Right.
I was looking at some of the other rosters. I don't know any of the names. Canada, not one.
Dude, I was actually thinking I want to look at the Great Britain roster and see if
Oh,
I
I
know
just
any-
had the
I
same
doubt
thing.
it. Yeah.
Freddie Freeman is on Canada's roster, so there's one.
Oh. Is Freddie Freeman Canadian? I guess that would make sense.
Otto Lopez is from the Dominican Republic, and he's on the Canadian roster. So,
Freddie Freeman's from California. What the hell?
yep.
Traitor.
No, they're just trying to make it fair, Chris. Come on.
Hey, man. They're like
Yeah.
the expansion team, like all the players that couldn't make the Team USA team. They're like, all right, we'll put you here and there. And
They
here.
gave him
happened?
Freddie Freeman for to keep it balanced.
Yeah.
Well, that happens in like the Olympics, right? Like especially in the NBA when guys don't make the Team USA roster, like you're still one of the best basketball players in the world. You play in the best league in the world, so why not become an honorary citizen of Greece for the playoffs?
Well, I think they have to have specific ties, like with who is it? There was somebody that switched teams basically, I think, last Olympics to maybe France. I don't know who it was, but they use their Joel Embiid switching to France. It sounds like he's going to be playing for Team France next year, and that's because of something to do with family.
Yeah, so real quick, touching on how does he pull it off? Both of Freeman's parents are from Canada. Freeman holds Canadian citizenship and American citizenship. So he was just like, fuck you guys, I'm going to go play for Canada.
Well, if the U.S. wins, we should revoke his citizenship.
You know, what's funny is technically, shouldn't Vlad play for Canada then?
Well, just because he plays for the Blue Jays.
Well, no, that's where he was born.
Yeah, he might have
Oh.
been because of the Expos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's a good point.
wonder how that works.
He's playing for Dominican Republic, I think.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
They got him, Manny, Ketamarte. Yeah, they're in good shape. Fucking Gene Segura, Juan Soto. Yeah, they're in really good shape.
Yeah, the Dominican Republic is probably the next team I would be scared of. Of course, Japan is a great baseball country, so that one they're going to be a sleeper. As even though I don't know 98% of their players.
That's as long as I've been
It's got
paying
another
attention
one.
to the World Baseball Classic. Those are the three teams. It's USA, Japan, and Dominican Republic.
Mhm.
They're always like the top ones.
It makes sense. But as with most professional sports that are played in America, and especially when you're talking about baseball and basketball and even football specifically, they're really getting more of a global appeal. And so I wouldn't doubt it if in our lifetime we see some real competitive matchups in like these World Baseball Classics and other countries maybe even having a nod. I mean, I know in basketball specifically, Australia is becoming like one of the bigger countries for professional basketball. Their NBL league is really kind of taken off, it seems like.
You saw that in the preseason, right? We got to hear all about that.
Oh yeah, the Adelaide 49ers or whatever, or 36ers or whatever they are.
36
Yeah.
Whooped the Suns.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, come on, dude.
There's some
That dude will never score 50 points in his life.
There's a team, I forget what city they're in out in Australia, but they're the Phoenix or something like that.
Yeah, what's his
Big
Aaron
Sauce.
Aaron Baines plays for that team, I think.
SE Melbourne. Yeah, as does Alan
and so
Williams.
does Alan Williams. Yeah, he led the team in rebounds again, I think. That Australian basketball league is getting closer and closer to like where France and Spain is in basketball as far as the league goes. I would say that their team right now is definitely more effective at the moment.
So there's one player on Great Britain I can name, and that's Trace Thompson. And I just learned this now, but apparently his brother is Klay Thompson.
Yes, that is his brother, which makes no
right.
sense because his dad is from LA.
Michael Thompson, right?
Yeah, I thought he was from LA. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
Does Trace Thompson still play for the Dodgers?
I just had his Wikipedia up. He's on the Dodgers. Must be utility.
He's Alex Webb is the one I would know. I was trying to look at other ones. The one reason why I'm able to keep up with it is because even though I don't like watching baseball, I like playing MLB, the show. So I usually keep up with the players enough there to at least recognize them sometimes. But yeah, that's an interesting roster for Great Britain.
Yeah, it's weird as hell.
Did we find out why?
No, I can't pinpoint a reason at all. Michael Thompson was born in the Bahamas. I don't think he has any ties to Great Britain at all.
USA didn't want him, so Great Britain said, why not? Crazy.
Oh,
interesting.
So the Bahamas technically are originally, I guess, because of playing for the Bahamas, they're technically were at some point a part of Britain, maybe? That's what I'm reading here.
That's the closest thing I can think of is like that it was a colony of Great Britain or something.
Yeah. Thompson was born in Southern California, but his father, Michael, is from the Bahamas and thus can play for the British team. I guess so.
Well, if you trace it back far enough, we're all British, right?
It depends on Trace. We'll have to ask Trace.
Keep going far back enough and we're all African.
Mike's only half British then.
You're damn right.
Well, all right, fellas. I think it's been a good one. I want to go around the table here and see if anybody has some last words before we sign off. So, Tallman, I'll pass you the mic first.
All right. Where's the NBA? I need to lose some fucking money. That's it.
Yes, man. Some games to bet on. Ian, what you got?
I also want the NBA back because I also want to lose some money.
Here we go. All right, you place your bet on the Suns to win it all yet?
No, I'm not doing that.
Davey, what about you?
Well, I'm just ready for the 3-5 to debut on Thursday night. That's all.
Wait, I thought the game was Friday.
Is it Friday or
Friday.
Thursday?
It's Friday. It's Friday night.
Thursday.
Sorry, you guys said Thursday. I'm like, fuck, I have to work Thursday night.
That's right, Friday night. Fucking, I'm ready. I'm ready for him to play.
I think I had Thursday because that's when games start up again, but the Suns don't play till Friday.
We're ready.
That's what it is. All right, Mr. Benjamin, what you got?
Oh, yeah. Suns recap dropping tomorrow. Got more live streams already scheduled. Going to hit you with one a week. Got a lot of things still ramping up here at Valley Sports Plug. So make sure you stay tuned and appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Davey, Ian, Tallman, Chris. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. Been a pleasure. Thank you guys for coming on. We're going to be doing a roundtable at least once a month, coming at you with a live stream once a week. Like Michael Benjamin mentioned there, we got the recap, Suns recap coming out tomorrow, and we're going to keep hitting you with content. Going to try and be every day. So make sure you're following us, whether it's a short 8-10 minute clip or one of these live streams. We really appreciate it. So if you made it in this point, I don't got to tell you where to find us. You already know. But for Michael Benjamin, VSP Tallman, Ian and Delmo, I'm Chris Patrick, and we will see you next time. Peace.